Today, I have compiled a list of 10 of the most ridiculous laws to ever exist. Be sure to stick around as these laws get increasingly absurd. Now let's jump in. Number 1. No armour in Parliament. England 1279. Picture this. Back in the day, British Parliament wasn't just a bunch of people in suits arguing over tea, it was also a potential battlefield. So, to keep things civilised, King Edward II decided to pass a law that said, hey, no rolling up to Parliament in full-blown knight armour. Why? Because nothing kills the vibe of a debate faster than a guy in chainmail who looks like he's ready to joust rather than discuss tax policy. At the time, it made perfect sense. I mean, you wouldn't want Sir Angry McSwordface glaring at you while you're trying to suggest a new grain tax, right? But fast forward to today, and this law is still technically on the books, even though the only battles happening in Parliament now are over who's hogging the last biscuit. So, yeah, the next time you're at a medieval reenactment and think about stopping by Parliament in your shiny armour, maybe leave the helmet at home. Number 2. No starting your car without checking underneath. Denmark. So, get this. In Denmark, they've got a law that says you have to check under your car for kids before you start it. Yep, before you even think about turning that ignition, you're supposed to make sure there isn't a mini-human playing hide-and-seek under there. Now, I know what you're thinking. Who's actually doing this? It sounds like overkill, right? But back in the day, when cars were basically rolling metal death traps, this law was all about keeping everyone safe, especially kids and I guess the occasional adventurous cat. Today, it might seem a little out there, like who's expecting a game of peekaboo with a toddler under their car? But it's still a thing, reminding us all that Denmark takes safety seriously. So next time you're in Denmark and about to drive off, maybe give a quick glance under the car, just in case there's a small Danish child taking a nap under there. Number 3. No wearing a fake mustache in church. Alabama, 1960s. Here's a gem from Alabama. Back in the day, it was actually illegal to wear a fake mustache in church if, and this is important, it caused people to laugh. Yep, that's right. Your hilarious attempt to rock a sneaky stash during Sunday service could have gotten you into legal hot water. The whole point was to keep things serious during church, but let's be real. How many people were out there trying to pull off a Groucho Marx routine during the sermon? I guess some folks in the 60s were getting a little too creative with their Sunday best, and the authorities were like, okay, enough with the mustache shenanigans. While the intent was to keep the service solemn, you've got to admit, it's pretty hilarious that someone had to sit down and write a law specifically banning fake mustaches. Imagine the church bulletin, "Thou shalt not covet thy neighbour's mustache," especially if it's glued on and gets the whole congregation giggling. Number 4. No penny-loaded payments in Canada. In Canada, there's a law that says you can't pay for anything over 25 cents using just pennies. Yup, if you're thinking of rolling up to Tim Hortons with a sack full of pennies to pay for your coffee, think again, my friend. This law was basically Canada's way of saying, we love our loonies and toonies, but we draw the line at counting out 500 pennies for a pack of gum. It was all about keeping things moving and avoiding the cashier giving you that look like, seriously, dude. While it might seem super specific, it makes sense when you think about it. Nobody wants to be stuck behind the person counting out their life savings in pennies. So next time you're in Canada and tempted to unload that giant jar of pennies, maybe save it for a rainy day. Or better yet, a Coinstar machine. Number 5. No flushing toilets after 10 p.m. in apartments. Switzerland. Here's a fun one from Switzerland. If you live in an apartment, flushing your toilet after 10 p.m. is actually illegal. Yep, you heard that right. Late-night bathroom trips can land you in trouble because of noise pollution regulations. So, if nature calls after hours, you might want to rethink your strategy. This is just one of the many ways the Swiss keep things quiet and peaceful. They're so serious about noise control that it's not just toilets. Mowing the lawn or blasting music late at night is also a big no-no. Sure, it sounds a bit extreme and definitely inconvenient for anyone with a late-night burrito habit, but hey, the Swiss are all about that sweet, sweet silence. So if you ever find yourself in Switzerland after dark, just remember, flush with caution, or maybe not at all. If you've made it this far in the video, you are awesome. Maybe consider leaving a like and a subscription so you can become smarter and learn cool stuff whenever I upload more videos. Number 6. No flying saucer landings in Châteauneuf-du-Pape, France, 1954. So, get this. The town of Châteauneuf-du-Pape in France actually passed a law banning flying saucers from landing in its vineyards. They were so worried about aliens showing up for a wine tasting that they made it illegal for E.T. to park his spaceship anywhere near their grapes. This all went down in 1954, during the UFO craze, when everyone was convinced little green men might be dropping by Earth. The mayor of this wine-loving town thought, "Not in my vineyard," and slapped down a law to keep the extraterrestrials at bay. It was probably just a clever way to get people talking about their wine. But here's the kicker. The law is still on the books. So, if you're ever in Châteauneuf-du-Pape and you see something weird in the sky, don't worry. The law's got it covered. No alien landings allowed, because nothing ruins a good vintage like a flying saucer crashing into your Cabernet. Number 7. No carrying ice cream cones in your pocket. Kentucky, 1800s. Kentucky has a law that says you can't carry an ice cream cone in your pocket. And no, this isn't some weird attempt to save you from sticky pants. This law was actually supposed to prevent horse theft. Yep, back in the 19th century, some genius figured out that you could lure a horse away by stuffing an ice cream cone in your pocket, because apparently horses had a serious sweet tooth and zero self-control. The idea was that the horse would follow you, and just like that, you'd have yourself a stolen steed. Now let's be real. How many horses were actually swiped with this cold, creamy trick? Probably not many, but Kentucky decided to play it safe and ban pocket ice cream just in case. So, if you're in Kentucky and feeling a bit mischievous, maybe leave the ice cream where it belongs, out of your pockets and in your mouth. Number 8. It's illegal to forget your wife's birthday in Samoa. Here's a wild one from Samoa. Forgetting your wife's birthday is actually a crime. That's right. If you slip up and let that special day slide by, you could be facing some serious legal trouble. Now, I get it. Remembering birthdays is crucial, but turning it into a crime? That's a whole new level of pressure. Imagine getting called into court because you forgot to buy a cake. Your Honor, I swear I thought it was next week. This law is all about promoting family values and keeping those relationships strong. It's like the government is saying, hey, no excuses. Pay attention to your spouse, or you could be doing time for birthday neglect. So, if you're ever in Samoa, you might want to set 1,000,000 reminders on your phone, or you could end up with a legal bill that's way worse than forgetting a present. Number 9. Mandatory smiling except at funerals or hospitals. Italy, 1900s. Here's a funny throwback from Milan, Italy. Back in the day, it was actually illegal not to smile in public. Yep, you heard that right. If you weren't grinning like a Cheshire cat, you could be in trouble. This 19th century law was all about keeping the vibes positive. The authorities figured, let's make smiling mandatory and everyone will be happy, because nothing says good mood quite like being forced to flash your pearly whites 24/7, right? The only exceptions were funerals and hospital visits. Because, it's kind of hard to smile while you're standing by a coffin or dealing with a broken leg. Can you imagine walking around Milan with a giant grin, feeling like a human emoji? Hey, buddy, you look sad. You better crank up that smile, or you'll be facing the smile police. Thankfully, this bizarre law has since been repealed, but it's a hilarious reminder of just how far governments will go to try to legislate happiness. So next time you're in Milan, you can relax. No one's watching your face. Number 10. No selling chewing gum in Singapore. Let's talk about Singapore and its infamous chewing gum ban. In 1992, they decided that chewing gum was the enemy of cleanliness and slapped a total ban on it. I mean, imagine a city where gum is public enemy number 1. If you were caught chewing gum, you could face some seriously heavy fines. I can just picture it. Excuse me, sir? Are you chewing gum? No, officer. It's just a really intense mint. The reason behind this strict law? Chewing gum was causing all sorts of chaos, getting stuck to sidewalks, benches, and even public property. It was like the gum was on a mission to ruin Singapore's pristine image. They were like, no way we're letting gum destroy our city. Now, the ban has loosened up a bit, and you can get therapeutic gum if you've got a prescription, because nothing says, I need this for my health, like a doctor writing you a note for minty freshness. So, if you ever find yourself in Singapore, just remember, leave the gum at home, or you might end up on a hilarious episode of When Chewing Gum Goes Wrong. Thanks for watching, nerds.